Hey guys, Tasha and Shamar here with Creative Canvas. We're back again today doing yet another tutorial. Today we're doing a Halloween special called the Headless Horseman. It is a level 2 painting. There are a few layers, a few dry breaks. It's going to be fun. Thanks for joining us. Let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started. We're going to do our background first, then once that dries, we'll put in our moon, and then we'll kind of sketch out the rest of the foreground so that you guys know where everything's going to be placed. But to start, we're going to do Mars Black, Cobalt Blue, let's not drop it, and Titanium White. So I already got my paint poured on my plate. Now this background is going to be pretty dark. We don't want it black, but we want it pretty dark so that the moon and everything else kind of pops. Now I'm going to start with my 1-inch flat brush, which looks like this. It's the big wide flat one because we got a lot of canvas we're going to cover. So to start, because I want this to be pretty dark, I'm going to start with black first. So I'm going to grab a good chunk of this black and a good chunk of this blue. Mix those two together. A little bit more blue. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of white. A little bit at a time with the white because you can easily overdo it. It's pretty close. Okay, I'm going to try this on the canvas. This is about what I got going on here. It's a nice dark. Oh, I think I'm going to go just a little bit brighter, a little bit whiter.
It's almost like a gray navy.
Yeah. Now I'm just going to use these horizontal strokes to cover my canvas. Now, we're not really, streaks are absolutely welcome. So, if you come down here and you get a little bit of extra white on your brush and you put that on there and you get some streaks, that's totally fine. The main thing is you just want to get the canvas covered. I may even lighten that just a bit. Ooh, my blue's running down into my paint. I put a little too much blue on my plate right to start. Okay, so that's a little bit lighter. Okay, now it's important to mention if you want to wrap this color around the canvas, now would be the time to do so. Just be careful when you paint the top of your canvas. When we flip it to paint the bottom, this needs to be dry. So if you want to do the top of your canvas, you might want to do that right off the bat, or maybe wait. Just keep that in mind because I am famous for flipping it when it's still wet. Okay, so I'm going to have to mix quite a bit more. So since I have all this blue running down into my spot, I might as well, let's get some of that over there. Hopefully your plates aren't quite this messy, but if they are, that's okay. A little bit more blue to that. A lot more blue than that. That's okay. Streaky and different, totally fine. I got a lot of white in that one. Just blend it out if you end up with a bunch of white somewhere or a bunch of blue. Kind of try and move it around the canvas a little bit. I got a lot of paint on there, so I'm just gonna move it about here. And I just keep going back and forth to kind of get that nice blend between the colors. If it's streaky, it's okay. It makes it look even better, as far as I'm concerned. Schmark can tell you I'm always really bad about I never mix enough paint. So then what happens is I go back and I mix more paint, and a lot of times my colors aren't exact, but I kind of like that look. So that's okay. If you're just like me, welcome. Besides that, it gives you lots of practice with mixing, which is not a bad thing. I'm getting to that point where I'm probably going to have to flip my canvas. Everything's still really wet, so just be careful when you're handling it. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over so I can get to the bottom of my canvas without running into my easel. Is it glary or anything, sis, or is it okay?
I mean, it's a dark color. It's going to be a little blurry, but... we're not changing it up. I'm sure they got the gist of what's going on here.
I've been excited to do this one. Got a little bit of canvas poking through right there, so I'm just going to add a little bit more paint. Already got canvas poking through. I think that's good, guys. I'm going to flip this back over. That looks pretty good. And again, if you guys want to do your sides, now that we've already done the whole flip thing, I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit more black and mix it in and just try and paint my edges a little bit here. If I don't do it now, then I won't do it. So that's why I try and do it when we're in the process. At least the edges. You can always do the top and the bottom later. Alright, so for now, I'm going to leave it. I'll do this edge, but I can't see it at the moment, so I'll wait. So we're going to have a nice little dry break, and we come back, we'll put our moon on, and we'll kind of map out the rest of our foreground. So we'll be right back. Alright, so we are ready to put our moon on. Now, we are using a plate as kind of our cheat. You can use a piece of chalk, or you can use a pencil to just do a light outline of the plate. We're going to be using the same three colors, the cobalt blue, Mars black, and titanium white, just a little bit lighter. Now what you want to do is take your plate. First of all, you want to kind of center it in the middle from the top to the bottom. So let me set this right up here. So I want about the same distance on the bottom as I have on the top. And then instead of centering it from side to side, you're going to go over just a bit. Do you have, I don't know, about a ½ inch or so of room on this side? So about like that. That's what I'm going to go with. Does that look good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm going to take my pencil. You guys probably won't be able to see this. Heck, maybe I won't be able to see this. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to do just a light outline. I'm not seeing that very well, sis. But I'm going to trust your judgment. I'm going to go all the way around.
Well, not everybody's going to have chalk.
That's true.
If you have a colored pencil, that works well too.
Yeah.
But chalk works the best.
Chalk does work the best. Whoops. Let me see if I can see it okay. I can see it. It's there. It's just not really very dark. But it's all right. We're going to use a light, we're going to use a gray, bluish gray to kind of get the outline first. And then we'll be painting it in. So we're going to start with, I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to switch over to my 1/2 inch flat. So I'm going to go ahead and dip that in my water, soften up those bristles. We're going to come up with a lighter blue-gray. So I'm going to start with white this time. I'm going to grab a pretty good chunk of this white, move it over here. I'm going to grab a touch of the blue and a touch of the black. Mix that up real good. Let's see what color we end up with. I'm going to go a little bit more blue and a little bit more black. And then when I say a dab, I'm just grabbing a little bit of it at a time. So we have this gray color. I'm going to add a little bit more blue to that. Okay, so it's a blue-gray. I don't know, as far as numbers go, what would you call this? Like a 5? 5 gray on a number scale? 3? 3? Okay, I'm never good at that.
No,
She's
not
really
a
good
2.
at that.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being white and 10 being black, it's maybe a 4.
Okay, so right around in there, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 1/2 inch flat, and I'm going to get my, because you can't see my line very well, so I'm going to use just the edge of my brush as I go around, get my shape in there. It's real hard to see. Top. Okay, there's my shape for my moon. Just gonna make sure it's nice and round. Actually, I may want to go a shade darker on this. So I've got this mixture right here. Now I got my edges in. I'm actually going to add just a little bit more black and a little bit more blue to that, guys. Just a bit. Because we want it to be dark enough that we can add some highlights and really make it look like a moon. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and paint that in. And I'm going to do it in a circle. I'm going to use my brush in a circle, and I'm going to keep my paint strokes the same. I'm obviously going to have to mix more paint. Got quite a bit of this blue, quite a bit of this black. Let's see what we end up with. It's pretty dang close. Yeah, a little bit more black. Become a pro at mixing, if you're not already. We want mainly our darker colors kind of centered, so a little bit more of that. So you've got kind of a darker color in the center. Make sure you got the whole thing covered in there. If it's streaky, it's okay. It just makes it look more moonish. Okay, so now I've got mainly the dark on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more white. And a touch more blue. more white. I'm going to lighten it up a bit. And I'm going to come around using the flat of my brush. I'm going to come around. See, this is still wet, so we're painting wet on wet, so it should be able to blend a little bit. Come around the edge. And I'm going to paint in some of those lighter colors. I'm not going to go all the way to the center. I'm just going to make it nice and streaky. Grab some more white. Same thing. Trying to stay loose with this.
It's a loose, fun paint.
Loose, fun painting. We're just trying to get some of these lighter colors in there to make the moon glow. And if you keep the lighter colors kind of around the edges, you don't necessarily want to target. I don't know how many times I've ended up with a target, but streaky is best. Now a little bit more white. Straight white. I haven't really rinsed my brush, but I'm just coming down here and grabbing the straight white. Now if you have a bunch of paint on your brush, you're going to want to get some of that paint off your brush. You can wipe it on your plate. That's what I would do, is just kind of wipe it off on your plate, then grab the white, just like I did. And you're going to come back up, and once again you're going to add some streakies to the outside. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and a couple spots where my paint's real thick through here, and I'm just going to kind of soften that up a little bit. Otherwise it won't ever dry. Maybe add a little bit more white. Kind of however you guys want. If you want it to really glow, add a little bit more white. And if it's just not really, you can always let it dry just a bit and then come back with a little white after it's dried. I like that. The only thing I don't like is I may come back with a little bit more of my darker color, which I happen to still have on my plate. Right now I'm going to add just a little bit more up here and over here. Okay, I'm going to wipe my brush off. Get a little bit more of this darker color down here. So I'm going to grab some of that and I'm going to kind of come back and just blend in some of those colors. Because I want my moon to not look so much like a target. So I'm just kind of scrubbing a little bit. There we go. That's better. Okay, I like that. I may add a little bit more highlights because I'm having having a hard because it's still really wet. So I'm going to have let it dry for a few, and then I'll come back in and add a little bit more white around the edge. And then we'll go ahead and put in our ground and everything else after that. So we'll be right back. All right, we are back and my moon is dry. So now what I'm going to do, I want to add just a few more highlights around the edges. So I've got my plate. I'm going to grab some of this white, and I'm just going to come around this edge here. I'm using the flat of my brush. I'm going to come around this edge. Just lay that in there. Just around this edge here. And then I'm going to come back and I'm just going to kind of slightly take my brush and scrub where that white is. Just scrub it just a little bit. And what it basically, it just kind of blends it into the edge there, so you don't have this straight line. So I'm scrubbing that straight line away. Got a little bit too much water in my brush. Okay, came out of the line there. Alright, I'm going to grab a little bit more white. I'm going to continue doing this up around this edge here. And this is just straight white. I'm probably going to have to flip my canvas though. Maybe not. Okay, I got a straight line. I got it. I get it. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Okay. There's a cat hair on my brush. Okay, so got her on the outside. Now I'm just going to do the scrub thing to kind of get rid of my straight line. Scrub that away a little bit. Wipe your brush off if you got too much paint, and then come in and scrub. Just don't want a straight line right in through there. Much better. A little bit more white down here. Come back and scrub this straight line. Stay still. Scrub a little bit more of that white on there. Just add in a little bit more glow. I like that. Okay, now I'm happy with my moon. I'm gonna let that dry for just a sec. Actually, it's already pretty much dry. That's what you do. When you dry brush, it dries quickly. Okay, so our next step is gonna be...
Is it really dry?
Huh? It really is, actually. For the most part, it is. Alright, so our next step, we are actually going to template our guy on there. It'll make it a little bit easier when we're adding in the ground. So, we're going to use charcoal paper, which I got some right here, sis. I'm going to use some charcoal paper to do that. Now we want our dude in the center of the moon. Sort of centered. We want his body in the moon with his feet coming down just... No, he's basically completely in the moon, isn't he? Yeah. So over. Mine's going to be a little bit further over because I want to be able to see. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Sorry guys, I'm thinking out loud here. I'm going to do it like that. A little bit. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Do we have some tape? So I'm going to sneak this charcoal paper. Now remember, when you're using charcoal paper, you want to make sure its black side is against the canvas. Sink that in. Try to sink that in.
Sometimes, like, what I like to do is tape the top of my whatever transfer template. There we go. Tape that and then just slip the.
And that does, yeah. If you tape that down, then you can just slip it in. Okay, I think that's about right.
I put it on your the blue paint jug.
Oh, hey, look at that. There's some tape. Okay, tape that on there. I'll take it on here. Now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to make a little mark. Make sure. Yep, I can see it. Okay. Now I'm going to draw on, just lightly trace right over your template to get it on there. Now, if you have to hold this in your lap to do it quicker, you can totally do that. It's hard to do on an easel, I'll tell you that much. Okay, make sure I get the inside of his legs here. Everything's about ready to get that. Now, before you pull it off, check it. See if it's all there. Looks good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off now. Alright, so now we know where his feet are gonna end. So now we can kind of get an idea as to where we're going to put. We have two hills. We have one that kind of comes down in front and then one that's in the back. So I want to make sure that my horse's feet are meeting the one that comes down in front. So I'm just going to lightly draw with my pencil so that I can see it. This hill, it's going to come down, just caps off the bottom of the moon and then kind of comes down. I'm going to do chalk so you guys can see, because I'm pretty sure you guys can't see that. So, try this again. I'm going to come right from this edge to meet where the feet are. And then I'm going to come bring it down like so. And then we're going to have another one kind of coming up in the back here, where we're going to put a tree. And I'm going to go ahead and use this chalk to outline where I'm going to put my tree as well. So I'm going to come up with my tree just along this edge here. I'm just going to go all the way up straight. So you see, that's where the tree is going to be. I can have a branch hanging off here. Branch. here. Kind of going up. There we go. Pretty content with that. Maybe add one more little branch here. Don't get too carried away, Tasha. Okay. All right, so then we have our Headless Horseman. Oh, you see what I forgot? His little neck should be meeting here because this is supposed to be the reins. Okay, once again, you need to make sure that you're not missing anything before you pull off that charcoal paper. Okay, but I think that's a pretty easy fix. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this painted in. When you did the ground up front, sis, did you just go straight black with that and then do the lighter gray in this area?
Yeah.
Okay, but we gotta get our tree in and we gotta get him in first, and then we'll come down and we'll work on the ground. So for now, go ahead and grab your detail brush or your small round. I have one around here somewhere. It's all right, hang on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Grab your detail brush and we're just going to take straight black and we're going to go ahead and do the outline. And then once we get the whole thing outlined, you can use a bigger brush and come back and fill in. So I'm going to start at the very top and work my way down, that way I don't smear things. Okay, so we've got him mostly filled in. We'll probably have to do a second coat to kind of touch up some areas. But now you can go ahead and work on your tree as well. Now for your tree, I'm going to switch to my 1/2 inch flat to do the tree. And I'm just going to follow my line down. And do the same thing I did over there and just fill it all in. Tell you that I'm gonna fast forward through this too. That Jim's wife Krista had Corona?
The Friday after
She was at the house for our next fight.
Oh.
Yeah. She just had a cold, but she had to get checked, you know. And it turned out it was actually Corona. Okay guys, now I've got my tree in there, I've got my Headless Horseman in there. Next step is going to be laying in the grass in the background. I have some spots I missed here. So I'm going to let this continue to dry because it's not quite dry. And what we'll do is we'll mix kind of a darker gray for this background. Now I'm going to need a little bit more. Black on my plate. Okay. So here's my plate. I'm going to grab some of this black. Grab a little bit of white. And did you add any blue to that, sis?
No.
Okay. So it's just a pure gray. Darker gray. Now, I'm going to use my brush to create what looks like grass. So I'm going to, as I use it this way, you might have, do we have to come in close for this? Maybe not. Wow, it's really snowing. Sorry. As I come in to make my grass, what I do is I flip my brush up, just like this. Flip it up. Flip it up. Very gentle. Flip it up. And what it does is it creates the look of grass. Now my tree is still wet, so for the most part, I'm just going to fill in down below here. I'm just going to fill that completely in. And I'm going to flick up, flick up. Flick right up here into the moon, create the grass. We'll add some highlighted grass too as well. Now we're just gonna flick up right into the tree and go a couple different directions. Main thing is you fill up the holes down here. You get this nice grassy look in the background. Okay, so up front here, we're going to use black for our grass. So we'll fill this space in. Is it straight black? Or did you just make it darker gray?
I probably did black at first.
Okay, so we're going to start with straight black right up front. I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush off. Come back and do the same thing with my black. You can kind of first fill in this whole area down here. But when you come up to your line, you're going to start creating the same grass, flicking it up. You're going to bring your grass up to meet your horse's feet. To completely cover them, just kind of right there at the edge. And I kind of keep my grass going the same direction here. I like how that look is. Just flicking it up over that gray. This all in with your black. Can you still see the bottom of the canvas, sis?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I wasn't
I'm
painting
totally
in a
zoned
blind.
in.
I know.
I'm watching you. It's
We do that, and then all of a sudden I'm painting in a blind spot and nobody can see what I'm doing. Okay, come down to that edge, and then once again, flicking this up. Create your grass. Okay. So at this point I'm going to come up here and I'm going to touch up my tree just a bit. Anywhere I see there might be a little bit of canvas poking through. Now this white chalk that we have on here, it will wipe away. But a lot of times I like to just paint over it. But you don't want to wipe it away until your paint's completely dry. Branch there. Make it look like a spooky tree. Good. I'm going to switch back to my detail brush real quick so that I can fill in any spots that need to be filled in over here. That's my Headless Horseman. For the most part, I did pretty good. We're going to do a small second layer just to make sure all that canvas is covered. Okay, so that is it for the Headless Horseman. He's all covered, aside from doing some highlights, which we will do. I've got one little spot down here, so I went back to my 1/2 inch flat. There's a spot right down here that I want to make sure the moon is poking through. I just want to make sure there's good coverage there. Okay, now it's time to add some highlights. So we have this gray that we use kind of in the background grass over here. I'm going to use that first since I still have some. Now the same flicking that we had going on before, I'm going to do that as well. And I'm just going to just gently add some grass right in through here. Same concept. Still a little bit wet. I may need to let it dry. Just kind of laying in some extra little layers for your grass. looks like. Did kind of the same thing in through here, didn't you, sis? Okay, add a little bit more white to that because I'm losing it. Okay. So we're laying in some grass right in through here. Not really any wrong way to do this. It's just a matter of adding some texture and highlight so it looks like there's some textured grass down below. Same color, we're going to add some highlights to the edge of our tree. Still got this gray. Then I'm going to come down along this edge of my tree. I'm using the flat of my brush here. I'm creating a highlight. Make that highlight come in just a little bit.
And it is hard to see on camera, but you guys will be able to pick it up on the reference photo.
It's hard to see when we bring it
It's just
forward.
it's just a dark painting.
Yeah. Well, and I'll add another highlight here. Go a little bit brighter so you guys can see that. Kind of that first highlight on there. And I'm gonna add a little bit more white. A little bit lighter gray going on so you guys can see it better. Okay. There we go. Now I bet you can see that a little better, hopefully. Okay. So I'm just going to come in right at the edge of the tree, add some highlights, do the same thing up here.
No, somehow I got
What's wrong?
nothing. Just gonna take it up a little bit here.
Oh, sorry.
Whoops, daisy.
Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Adding some of these highlights on these limbs. I'm just very gently coming in and adding a few of these highlights in here. And that's pretty good. I don't think I need really any more than that. Now I'm going to take that same lighter gray and I'm going to come down here and add these lighter highlights right along this edge here. Just flicking that grass up like we've been doing. And then I'm going to come up here and add the lighter highlights to the gray grass behind. Just a little bit in there. Okay, so I'm going to use this highlight. I'm going to switch brushes first because this one's a little too big because I want to add some highlights to my Headless Horse dude. And sorry, excuse my reach, trying to get a different brush.
You don't like that blue one?
No, not for, I like using flats for highlights. So I'm looking for a 1/4" flat brush. Found one right here. It's a nice small flat brush. I'm gonna wet that down. And I'm gonna grab some more of that gray that I have on here. just going to come in on the edge of my horse's face here. A couple spots here on the hair. Now on the knee, come in and add a highlight here. And then we'll put some here. Put some on the belly. Just kind of go around the horse and add a little bit here and there. On the knee, the leg. And we'll come up here, finish the hair part, come around the Headless Horseman's shoulder. Just a little bit here and there. Some on the cape. On the butt, and of course the tail. Okay, now I'm gonna grab, I need to let this grass dry because I want to put in, I'm going to put in our fence and our pumpkin here in just a second, but I'm going to let this, give this just a second to dry, and then we'll be right back and we'll add in those other two details, and then we'll be able to lay in the final highlights on everything kind of all at once. So we'll be right back. All right guys, we are back, and we are now going to throw in some details like our pumpkin and our fence along here. So I'm going to start with my 1/2 inch flat. I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this black. Now we just did this freehand, but if you guys have chalk and you're more comfortable with drawing it out with chalk, you can totally do that. In fact, I'll put my pumpkin in chalk. So I'm going to put my pumpkin in kind of right at the top part of this grass. So I'm going to go, let's see here, kind of try and do a pumpkin shape here. And then pumpkin kind of does this thing on top. I don't know, something like that, guys. There's a pumpkin. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and fill him in with black to start. We'll add some highlights. I'm going to do straight black for the moment. And then what we'll do is while he's drying, we're going to pop on over here and do our fence line, which is just going to be really easy. I'm just going to let my brush do the work for me. Okay. My pumpkin keeps getting bigger. Okay. Leave him alone. It happens. Now my fence line, I'm going to have my first post is going to be about right here. So I'm just going to, with the flat of my brush, put that on here. I'm going to pull this down to about right there. There's my first post. Okay. Now my second post is I'm going to come over to about right here, and then I'm going to come down because it's closer to us. I'm going to come down quite a bit. And then I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going to have to put this up on the thing. Same thing. I'm just going to pull that post all the way down. All the way down. I'm going to make it kind of thicker. This one's going to be a little bit thicker. So we've got this fence post. Now we're going to have, in fact, I might go a little bit taller with that. Just a little bit taller. Okay. And this one here, I just want to make sure we're good on this one. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is create, what do you call it? The other wood that connects the two. Railings on this. I don't know what you call it. Whatever you want to call it. Okay, guys? I don't know the proper lingo. But it's going to connect from this point down to this point. So that it's going to connect these two bits of our fence line. So I'm just going to do one simple straight line across. Okay? And you can kind of fill in this area where you come across.
Technically, it will be getting bigger
Yes.
as it comes closer.
As it comes closer, it's going to get bigger. So we're going to kind of go this way. Man, those birds are really loud out there. It's not cats, it's birds. Or kids. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. It's going to be skinnier, and then as it comes closer, it gets a little bit bigger. Skinnier, get bigger. Okay, and then I'm going to clean that area up there where I added that. Okay, so we have that fence line. And now we're going to have one that's kind of, it's like a broken fence. Creepy, broken fence. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going to pull this fence down like this. Like, okay, this one's broken. I'm going to thicken it up just a bit. Okay, fix that. And then we're going to have another piece coming off right here. It's going to kind of do the same thing. They're going to kind of connect down there on the bottom. So we have these two, and then this one. We'll fix that. Okay, so we've got our cool fence going on here. Make sure our posts are all about the right size. Okay. So now we're going to create some highlights. Make sure I got that good. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my 1/4 inch flat, my smaller flat brush. I'm going to use it to make some highlights. Okay, so I want my white. I'm going to grab a little bit of this white, move this over here. I'm going to grab a little black and mix that in. Sorry, you guys probably can't see that. A little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, so we have this gray going on here. Now I'm going to use, first I'm going to come over here to my pumpkin, and I'm going to add with my brush, I'm going to come around and then I'm just going to pull this down around the edge of this pumpkin. And I may have gone a touch too bright. Add a little bit more black to that. You don't want a ton of paint on your brush. Pull that down right around the edge of my pumpkin. Okay, and I'm going to have a little bit going on this side as well. Whoops. And then it looks like we got, what is this like? Bring this down here. So we have a little bit of a highlight on our pumpkin. I may come back in with a little bit of black. I got a little carried away with that highlight. Okay. A little bit of black on the bottom here. Okay, so now we're going to do the scary part, which is add the eyes and the mouth for our pumpkin. So I've got that gray. I'm just going to use that first, and then we can add kind of a brighter highlight. Okay, so we've got this eye over here. You can make your pumpkin look however you want. I'm going to do the whole evil, mean looking pumpkin. So there's one eye. I'm going to come over here, add another eye. And then for the mouth, I'm just going to easily kind of just, it's, I don't know how you explain it. It's like a little sound wave. I'm just going to scrub it on there, just like so. It looks like a bunch of staggering, creepy teeth. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to
highlight your fence.
Highlight my fence. Thank you. No, it's a good thing you reminded me because I was going to just, I'm like, focus in on this pumpkin right now. You sensed it. Okay, so I'm going to come over here with that gray and I'm going to do the highlights on my fence. First thing first, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create kind of like this rounded edge. So I'm going to come around, make that like a rounded edge there. I'm going to do that on this one as well. So it kind of looks like the top of the fence post is rounded. Okay, I'm going to take this highlight and I'm going to pull it down this side of the fence here. And I'm going to bring it along the top of this beam here. Same thing down here. Gonna mix a little bit more of that. Okay. I'm gonna do a highlight on this side as well. And we'll follow the highlight. Let's see. This one comes down, I think. And then this one. Bring some of those highlights in just a little bit. Not sure what happened to this one. It just kind of disappeared. Okay. So I've got some highlights on our fence. Now I'm going to rinse my brush off and I'm going to grab straight white to add our final highlights.
We may need to add a shadow underneath that pumpkin.
Oh yeah, dang it. Okay, well we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to grab some straight clean white here. First I'm going to come in and I'm going to add some brighter colors to his eyes. Now I'm not going to do the whole eye, I'm just going to do this part here. And I'm just going to kind of follow this down just like that.
Just the inner part?
Just the inner part of the eye, yeah. And then same thing over here. And I'm just going to follow that down just a bit like that. Perfect. And now I'm going to kind of do the same. I'm going to add a little bit of this white down here to his creepy mouth, but mainly just in the center. Okay. Now I'm going to add some highlights to the top of my pumpkin. Kind of looks like my pumpkin has a hairstyle going on here. That's alright. We're going to follow this highlight just along the edge of this side here. Give this side a little bit of a highlighted by the moon look going on. Okay, now we're going to take that straight white. We're going to come down here and we're going to add it to the top of our tree, or our tree. We're going to add it to the top of our posts. We are also going to come back and add it to the tree a little bit. And then just in a couple spots on the fence. A little bit along there, a little bit along there, a little bit there, a little bit there. I'm going to come up and add just a few bits of white along this edge of the tree. Right here and here. Maybe up here. Oops, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I'm following.
Okay.
A little jerky, but we got there.
Adding just a little bit of white here and there. And then also on our Headless Horseman. A little bit on the face, maybe on the shoulder, his cape, his hand, arm, butt of the horse. Oh, I'm like, what was that? And I forgot we had the window open. Oh, and then we'll put some on his knee down here, a little bit in the hair. Okay. She thinks I'm hilarious. And oh, we gotta add a little bit to this guy up here. Okay. Literally that I have to stop because I'll just keep on going. I think that's it though. Did I miss anything?
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. Gosh. The black.
The black, the grass, and the glow.
I already rinsed my brush. Alright. I'm gonna grab a little bit more white, guys.
Wait, you want to do the black first?
But I just had white. Okay.
I know you just had white, but you're going to put the black down and then you have to put white over it.
Okay. See?
That's why I said it earlier.
Do the black. Do the black, she says. It came across as a suggestion. That's why. Okay, so I'm down here under the pumpkin.
Just
and
add some shadows.
Just gonna add some shadows. Okay. And the shadows are there's gonna be more shadows off to the side. Okay, because he's got to have a glow, which is the whole point. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse my brush again. I got some shadows in. I'm going to grab the white again. And I'm going to add a little bit of a glow right in here. Oh boy, here we go again.
They do so well for so long.
I know, and then
they start screaming.
And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, let's scream. Okay, so we're going to add some white grass as well along the edge of the tree, along these edges. Yeah, I totally missed that part. Now this is supposed to be loose, guys, so don't obsess about your perfect grass. Just add it in there. Okay. We got highlights. Hang on. Okay. What is going on? All right. That's it, right? Aside from signing it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna sign, and let's see here. Let me get the right brush. I'm gonna sign in gray, not white, but gray. Okay, I'm gonna flip this sideways for a sec. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. And we're gonna do it right. Oh, it's way brighter than I was hoping it would be. Hang on. Okay. There we go. There we go. Signed. Can y'all see that?
Looks great.
Okay, we are done. Officially done. Yay! Thank you guys for joining us for the Headless Horseman. Have a happy Halloween, a safe Halloween. Yeah, and we love to hear from you guys. So if you guys did the painting and you guys are cool with sharing, you can post it on Facebook and tag us. Send it to us on Messenger. Either way, we just love to see it. We love to hear from you. And for more painting tutorials and painting kits, you can visit our website at creativecanvas406.com. We'll see you guys next time.